What a lot of people don't realise is that leg pressing can be very dangerous for you, but it's a brilliant exercise. But consider this, the whole point of a leg press is to get that squat movement, but taking the load off your back to minimise the risk of lower back injury. Plus, because it's on a rail, it's stable, so it allows you to overload the legs more than you would in a squat. So in terms of hypertrophy, as in muscle building, it's possibly even a better option than a squat when you're just talking about legs and not full body development. So the things you ought to consider is if you go too low on a squat and your body curls up like a prawn, like this, which happens all the time, people bring their knees right up and they think they're safe, but what they don't realise is that because their bum has come away from the back, all of a sudden the weight's now shifted from your bum to your back. So there's a couple of things we can do here to make it safer. For one, I like to put a pad just behind my bum like this to close this gap up when I go a little bit lower, so I can bend my knees out a little bit more, bring my knees closer to my chest. But your foot placement matters too. If your feet are really high, then you don't have to bend your legs as much. You can still bring your knees as far, but when you do this, there's a good chance your heels are going to come off. And that's why I leg press with squat shoes on, because it just allows me to bend my legs out a little bit more. Sometimes it's good to do high foot placement, sometimes it's good to do regular, wide, and even sometimes I'll go to the very, very bottom and come up on my toes, but with a lighter weight. So your anatomy will dictate how low you can go. If you look at me now, when you consider a lot of people, as I said, will go down to this really deep hip flexion, as in bringing their knees in close to their chest. If you look as I stand up straight, I can only bring my knee this far towards my chest unless I round my lower back. So if I was on a leg press, there's safe. As soon as I bring my knees right up, my bum must have come away from the seat. My hips have tilted posteriorly, aka butt wink, which means again, the load's now on my back. But if I put my feet a bit wider, as you'll see here, because of my anatomy and the shape of my hip sockets, if I go wider, I can actually come up higher without bending my back. So there, only goes to there, go wider, bring it up, but that's different for everyone. So to show you in a squat, I can only go to there. If I go wider, I can go lower, but still with a straight back. So take these things into consideration. When you leg press, you only go as low as you can. So try doing it with your eyes closed. Go as low as you can. When you feel your back starts around, you come back up. It doesn't matter if you don't go all the way down. If you go all the way down for the sake of getting a bigger range of motion, your legs aren't getting a bigger range of motion. It's just that you're bending your back. And if you're bending your back, you could slip a disc. So give it a try. Try different width, feet positions, higher, lower. Mix it up, but just never let your bum come away from the seat. As you can see, I'm using my chest and shoulders to push through my forearms onto my knees to start off, because I just find it much easier than going in cold from the bottom. In this instance, a regular leg press, I've got my feet as low as I can get them to keep my heels down. Obviously, squat shoes help with this. I've put them quite wide because that's how I squat, because it just works better for my hip anatomy. And other than that, I'm really focusing on taking a deep breath at the top, driving my knees down to make sure I use my glutes more. And I always make sure, above everything else, that my bum stays wedged right up against the back, or in this case, I've added a pad so that it closes up that gap a little bit.